Hello everyone, welcome back to another Doctor Who related video. This is a Doctor Who story for all occasions. We did it for Big Finish a couple years ago where we give you scenarios and some Big Finish stories to fit said scenario. This time we're doing it for TV Doctor Who. This is the classic edition where we pick a classic story for an occasion, really.
We're doing a bit different this time, though, aren't we? Because
Yes.
we don't know what each other has picked. So we're going to surprise ourselves, see which ones we have in common, which
Yeah.
ones we don't. We know the different scenarios we've got listed. Some of them are the same as our Big Finish one, if you have watched that one. Some of them are a little bit adjusted because they didn't all quite translate from audio to TV. We'll be sticking with the same categories for our new series video though when we get around to that, but we're starting with the classics, and we're starting with a pick-me-up for when we're in the mood for something to cheer us up a bit, really. And I feel like classic Who often does that for me. Which story did you go for?
I went for a doctor who is a pick-me-up doctor, and I went for the pick-me-up story for me, which is my favorite story, The Sea Devils.
Oh, so I have gone for the same doctor, John
Nice.
Pertwee the third. I've gone a few stories down the line though. I've gone Carnival of
Oh,
Monsters
lovely.
because it just has that fun, feel good vibe about it, really.
Does.
There's some heavier stuff under the surface, like, the whole peep show angle of it, and all these people being enslaved and effectively tortured as their memories are constantly rewritten and forced to play out these horrible games for the amusement of others. But the vibes are there. It's fun. You got
Roll up, roll up.
some wonderful characters. Robert Holmes is brilliant dialogue all throughout.
Just daft fun with thrashings.
Yeah, exactly. Just a load of monsters. I mean, yours is also quite monster centric, isn't it?
Yeah, Sea Devils. We've got some nice iconography of the Sea Devils. You've got the Master in there as well. And just
Hmm.
having sort of the chemistry between this is peak for Doctor and Joe, and the chemistry between Delgado is insane. And I think that just really springs off the screen and just fills me with sheer delight. So many iconic moments within it, and yeah, it's just a real joy of a story, really, with a lot of scale to it.
I think you can tell John Pertwee was enjoying himself with this one as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
It
this
come.
is very much his story, going back to his sort of Navy roots.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think this would be John Pertwee's pick. I would feel as well.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. I
I
mean,
guess from a pick me up to
hmm,
something rather bittersweet is our next category.
yeah. I've gone along similar lines as you did with Sea Devils, funnily enough. I've gone for the Silurians
Oh,
because,
nice.
I think while the Sea Devils is, almost a remake of the Silurians in some ways, it follows a similar plot. Obviously, it's out at sea and it's more of a feel-good story, whereas the Silurians, I think, particularly when you get to that ending, that poignant
Hmm.
speech from the Doctor, it is quite bittersweet, really.
And you've got the
Ow.
shift of like the plague and obviously living through a pandemic now, how that becomes more sort of bittersweet in itself, really.
Oh, yeah. What was your pick for
Uh,
bittersweet?
I'm sticking with Pertwee. I went for
Okay,
Green
we've got a
Death.
lot of Pertwee so far. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I went for the Green Death because obviously it says it's the breakup of the unit family. This is the beginning of the end of my favorite classic era, the Third Doctor. This is where things are being deconstructed. Joe Grant leaves, my favorite companion of the classic series. Lovely
Mm.
Joe, and just seeing
Unit's on its way out at this point, sadly.
Delgado sadly passed away.
Mm.
Um, Changes in the air, and obviously seeing the Third Doctor heartbroken, well, hearts broken in the form of Joe going, and just that ending is just very bittersweet of him just driving off into the sunset in Bessie. I think
Mm.
for me, it's a bittersweet story, but it's got some wonderful moments with the maggots. It's iconic in its own right. but it's got this sort of change undertones within it, really. Like a maggot, it metamorphosizes into a fly and becomes something completely different, and that's what the show had to do after the Green Death, really.
Yeah, it very much was the end of an era in
Mm.
many ways. And I mean, it's the last time you see that title sequence as well. You know,
Yes.
things are getting freshened up as Sarah Jane comes in the Time Warrior. Uh, our next category is Long Journey. So, you know, this is you commuting on a train for several hours or, you know, in a
With Doctor Who
car,
being
but
on
you're not
iPlayer,
driving. Yeah, you can load it up on your phone. If you bring a laptop with you, you can pop that up, stick your headphones in, and, you know, enjoy some Doctor Who out and
hmm,
about now because it's the 21st
it's out there.
century. We're no longer stuck to our massive televisions inside our living rooms. You know, it can follow you about, and uh, you know, we thought it deserved a category in honor of that.
Yes.
I went for the war games.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, big chunky one. That makes
Hmm.
sense.
Yeah, and also one that I feel like you can keep going with. I think it's got a good amount of twists and turns there, a good mystery to keep you engaged, and you know, the settings changing fairly often as you go into different time zones and then into the aliens command center as it goes on. You know, I think there's plenty there to keep you going, keep you entertained. How
Hmm.
about you?
Well, you've gone for time zones. I've gone to another universe. I've gone for
Oh,
Inferno.
I thought you were going
Uh,
to say E-Space for a second. I
no,
guess
no,
it's went
God,
in full
no,
circle.
no, 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 gosh, no.
Do 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 do.
No K9. Uh, yeah. So for me, as a kid, I had a portable DVD player, and Inferno would be the one I would always take with me because of episode three with Bessie and the car chase sequence. And I think this story's got a lot of distance, obviously going in another universe,
Mm.
and just sort of, yeah, I think, yeah, traveling in Bessie, yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
think
I
for
mean,
me,
it's one that you've had with you for a long journey. So this isn't just a scenario we've thought up and,
yeah,
you know, thought what would work best. But this is tried and true for
this is
you.
tried and
You've
tested.
lived it.
I've lived through it. For many a morning going to primary school, I'd have, the chilling music of Inferno going off at 8:30 in the morning.
Ooh, I do love that music.
Yeah, it's a
Like
great
the
score.
ambience about
Mm,
it's
very
brilliant
great.
stuff. Yeah.
Our
It's
next
the post-nuclear industrial gothic feel
Pertwee
that has
side.
going on. Mm.
Pertwee side.
Yeah, little shout out for Stephen Noonan there, who coined the term.
And it's very, very true.
Very apt.
This category is very difficult because the classic series didn't really have one of these. It's a Christmas special.
Well, there was a feast for Stephen.
Oh yes, but are we really going to be putting that on there? Where's K9 and Company?
Mm.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, you can't watch it anyway, so.
well, that's true. That's true. For me, I thought, what's the closest classic story that feels like a celebration? And I think it's the Five Doctors.
You know, yeah, I can see that. I think usually I've burned through Five Doctors by that point, mate, because I'll have had it
Mm.
on November. It feels like the fitting one for the anniversary. But no, I think it does have a Christmassy vibe about it as
Because
well.
it's everyone coming together. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, it's just a great sort of celebration of the show, really. And I
Yeah.
think that's what Christmas is, a nice celebration, really.
Getting together with all the family.
Yeah.
Even have a family reunion with the Doctor and his granddaughter, Susan.
Hmm.
I mean, for me, I've gone for the opposite end of that. I've gone for when they were split up in the Dalek invasion of Earth.
Ah, I
That's
see
my
what you're doing.
Christmassy choice. Because for me, it was one I got at Christmas. I mean, I got a bunch of Doctor Who's at Christmas, but this one, more than many, feels right for me for this time. I mean, it's 60s, and I feel like black and white always works better, you know, around winter time when the nights are drawn in. You want to feel all cozy inside. Yeah, I mean, the final episode did go out on Boxing Day as well, so it was around that time of year. It
Mm.
fits that vibe really. And yeah, I just love it around Christmas. It is one of those more personal
60s
ones
is
for
very
me,
magic,
and
yeah, around that
yeah,
time of year.
I mean, the first Doctor I think is probably the most Christmassy Doctor. Like he was pitched as Father Christmas meets, a bunch of other things. But
Yeah.
yeah, Father Christmas was in that mix. And yeah, I feel like that comes out quite nicely around this time of year.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's why I've gone for Dark Invasion of Earth. One I can't quite describe, it's a more personal one.
Yeah, that's valid,
But
very
yeah, for
valid.
me, it is the Christmas choice.
Hmm.
Yeah, Christmas is a cozy time of year. So what's just a general cozy night watch?
Well, I think when you think of cozy, you think of a roaring fire, don't you?
You're not going
Um,
Inferno again.
no, I'm going for the Great Fire of London, the Visitation.
Oh, okay.
I think for me, this was quite like a. I think when I first watched it was autumn, and there's just something quite. I think historical settings just feel quite cozy to me.
Hmm.
There's just something about that sort of time period where I just like, oh yeah, that feels. And it starts at night. You're all huddled round with your little posset, but pterodactyls are coming into your
You're
house.
incorrigible, father.
Get your guns and start firing away. And you've got some wonderful, colourful characters of Richard Mace, who is a very good little companion within the story. And yeah, I think for me, there's something quite cozy about that because there's a crispness in the air of the story as well. Um, yeah, so I think, yeah, for me, the Visitation's quite a cozy story. And of course, Roaring Fire, like I said, Great Fire of London, really.
Yeah. I think the music as well is quite cozy in it. Like,
Hmm.
that nice, soothing 80s sim.
You've got
Uh,
fireworks going off as the
hmm.
pterodactyl prison ship crashes down. So yeah, I think it's a perfect one for a cozy night.
Oh, I've gone for a 70s story instead.
Oh, nice.
I have gone for a whodunit because, who doesn't like a nice little whodunit on a cozy night? Your Agatha Christie. I've gone for the Robots of Death.
Oh yeah, that's a
Uh,
really good one.
yeah, I think as well, the more enclosed nature of it, the claustrophobia almost there, that adds to the more cozy vibe, particularly the Art Deco style of the sand miner. Those visuals, those costumes, the robots themselves, it all gives off quite a cozy vibe to me as it
Yeah,
all goes to hell.
the luxury of the sand miner, yeah, with the little rooms. Yeah, I can see that thing very well.
Ah. Next, we have a dirty binge. I don't know why we called it a dirty binge. This is a
Because it's a little
category
bit
we've
cheeky, a little
lifted
bit
from,
cheeky.
yeah, a little bit
Um,
naughty. It's a category we lifted from the audio recommendations we did. And so I don't know why we called it dirty then, but
yeah,
we did then. We're calling it dirty again now. It's, it's the one that you just have to get, oh, just one more episode
yeah.
when you're watching. You
We can
can't
just plow
quite put it
through,
down.
and
Yeah.
it's yeah.
What is it for you?
Well, I think when you think of binge, you think of something quite cinematic and film, and this one does sort of link to dirty as well. Speared from Space.
Oh,
So you've got John Pertwee in the shower. That's a little bit cheeky and a bit, saucy. But I think when you think of sort of binging, the whole sort of cinematic feel of Spearhead being on film, it's got a completely different feel to classic Doctor Who. It's very unique in its own right, and I think it's its own little mini movie, really. And yeah, the cliffhangers, even part one, is great. But it's just a lot of fun, and it's just a story you can keep going and going and going. It's just got sheer pace, and it's just a relentless one where you just want to keep watching, getting to that Auton invasion, really.
yeah, I can see that. I've gone for similar lines with the more action-packed Star Story. I've gone for the Web of Fear.
Okay.
because I feel like it, particularly up to part four, it's one that I just want to keep going and going and going with. It's got some strong cliffhangers there. The action is very good. Douglas Camfield, of course. The atmosphere of the London Underground that they've created there, the mystery as to who the spy is, the introduction of the Brigadier. I feel like it suits a dirty binge.
I can see that. I can see that.
Mm. I think also in the sense that when it first was found, you almost felt a bit dirty burning through it all
Yeah,
quickly
it felt
because
wrong
you
going past
never,
part one.
because you never know. Well, we never knew when the next, uh, you know, missing episode would be found, and
Mm.
it still hasn't. If we ever do get any more, and so you want to get through it quickly, but at the same time, you want to savor that because, like we say, that might be it.
Yeah,
Uh,
or it might go missing while you're watching it again.
yeah.
You know. Our next category is lights out.
Hmm. I've gone season 5 again for this one.
That makes sense.
I've gone Tomb of the Cybermen.
Ah, brilliant,
Because,
brilliant.
yeah. I mean, Fury from the Deep would have been a possibility, but I'm not a fan of the animation. I feel like that put me off it a bit.
Hmm.
So I've gone for Tomb of the Cybermen instead because of the childhood memories of being absolutely petrified of this.
Yeah.
Particularly the Cybermen. I mean, the part one cliffhanger terrified me. The smoke coming out of the bodies
Hmm.
when they're shot, something about that effect really creeped me out. But then the Cybermen themselves, the idea of them coming to take you away and turn you into one of them, I don't think there's ever been more fully realized in Classic Who than in Tomb of the Cybermen. So yeah, for me, that is my lights out pick. And
We've
black
we've
and white as well.
yeah, we've
Adds
gone
to it.
very similar thinking, I feel.
Oh, okay.
Um, for me, we're going down to the sewers. There's something in the dark, but there's a light coming. What's that? It's a Cyberman. It's the invasion. This
Oh, okay.
lovely noir sort of experience, and obviously Cybermen. They fit sort of the shadowy locations and lurking in the dark. And I think the sewers sort of reflect that. And you've got the
Yeah.
Cybermen.
One that the animation enhances as well. Well, not,
Yes.
eh. Or certainly leans into it well. I don't want to say enhanced because that almost makes it sound like it would be better than the original episodes. And I don't think it's
No, it's still
quite on that.
faithful. It's
But
still
yeah,
faithful, but there's a little few liberties there.
it's stylized in a way that fits the noir feel of the invasion.
Hmm. And it's a nice action-packed story by Douglas Camfield, and I think that's really what you want. Really, you want something just to sit down, lights off, have a sort of a cinema experience, really. And I think
Yeah.
there's something quite scary about Cybermen stories in the dark. There's that edge of something that could be there.
Mm. Particularly when it's, one screaming down the
Mm,
sewers.
absolutely chilling. Talking about suffering, mood to suffer.
Hmm. This could be taken one or two ways.
Yeah.
It's either, the one that you're going to want the tissues ready for,
Hmm.
or it's the story that's really bad, but for whatever reason, you're sticking it on anyway. I don't.
Yeah.
Which route have you gone down with this?
I've gone for a story I don't like
Oh.
and a story where the characters suffer a fair bit.
Oh.
I've gone for Vengeance on Varos.
Ah. I do quite like Vengeance on Varys, funny enough. But
I
yeah,
can't
the
I can't get
characters
on
do
with it.
suffer.
I can't get on with it. It's the classic, season 22 syndrome of Doctor and Perry in the TARDIS.
Hmm.
And I think it's just very grim. Everyone's suffering. Nobody's having a good time. So yeah, I've gone for Vengeance on Varos.
I've gone for the Green Death.
Oh, there we go.
Because you know that you're going to have that heartbreaking farewell at the end. You're building up to it. It's very well built up to throughout with Cliff and Joe. And, you're happy for her, seeing her fall in love. But at the same time, you're sad for her and the Doctor because you know that their time is now limited. And so, yeah, it's one that you got to have the tissues ready for by the time you get to the end of it. So subtly played,
Mm.
it's a very tender moment that I think leaves the emotion to you. You're the one who's allowed to have the big outburst there. They're staying strong for each other, even though it's killing them on the inside. Yeah. And then, that final shot at sunset as Bessie drives over the horizon, it it gets you.
Oh, it does. It hits
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. So that is my mood to suffer choice.
Our
Yeah.
next category is a rainy day. You can take this in many ways, like a pick me up, or the weather's a bit bleak, so do I want a bleak story to reflect that?
Yeah. It's just something that if it's raining outside, you've not got much else to do. What are you gonna stick on? What's your go-to one? Again, it could be along the similar lines of pick me up.
Hmm.
But for me, I've gone for one that sort of suits that rainy atmosphere. I've gone for Curse of Peladon.
Oh,
Okay,
lovely.
none of the Doctor. We've got
Lovely.
quite a few of those on there. But yeah, it just does fit that vibe really. And I think it sort of makes you feel a bit cozy as well. While it's raining outside, you're there with your, torchlight
Mm.
in the Citadel on Peladon. How about you?
I've gone for the opposite. I've gone for it's a bit bleak outside, so I want something a little bit bleak and gritty. I've gone for
Oh,
Genesis of the Daleks.
oh,
It's a six-parter. It's raining. You're not gonna be going outside, so you might as well stick with it. And I think it fits it really well.
hmm. I mean, it's also one that you can easily stick with.
Hmm. Easy. It's its own little film. Yeah, it's a great one, and
Yeah.
dark, depressing, bleak, full of no hope. There's moments of hope, but you think the characters are going to do it, but no, ultimately, it's going to end bad for everyone involved.
Hmm. Shall we look to the other end of the spectrum then? Go for a short but sweet one.
Yes,
Something to pick us up afterwards. But, we don't have too much time. We got to squeeze it in
you've got
quick.
yeah, you got to go. I think we've probably picked the same for this one.
Is it the story just before your
You'd be
previous choice?
correct. You'd be correct.
Here we go. It's some Taran experiment.
Yeah, we've picked the same
Yeah.
one. I mean, Classic Who, there's a couple of two-parters there.
I think you could probably stretch to a three-parter for a short but sweet if you wanted.
Yeah, but I think that
I
my
mean,
heart naturally went to Sontar Experiment. It's just
yeah,
a
it's the
nice
one I went
dose
for.
of solid 70s Doctor Who. Great
Hmm.
character moments with,
It's your espresso.
it is. It's your little shot of, it's your little fix of Doctor Who to get you
Hmm.
set.
It's everything you want from Classic Who in a short time frame.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's other solid two-parters, but they don't quite do it as well as this.
Mm.
There's also two-parters like King's Demons that just drag.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like way longer than two parts. You don't want that for your short but sweet. Even if you're saving time, you're not. The time's dragging.
Yeah, it's not
This
good.
way, it flies past nice enough, but you don't feel like the story's in too much of a rush either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, rather quintessential classic Who, I think that's a slice off.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of describing it.
Yeah. I think one that doesn't necessarily describe a lot of classic Who is the summer blockbuster.
Yes.
This is the category that's perhaps more action packed.
Mm-hmm.
I've got an Earthshock. How about you?
Uh, I've sort of cheated
Okay.
with this. I have gone for the Curse of Fenric, but the movie edition,
That's a good choice.
because I think the movie edition it adds a lot of scale to it, and it's how the story should be viewed.
Hmm.
And I
It
think
is the version.
it's set on like the coastline. You go to the coast on your holidays. You visit a beach. You can imagine hemovores, coming out of the sea to take you away from your wonderful little summer holiday.
Hmm. Yeah, I've gone for a shock just because, it does fit that more action-packed blockbuster vibe
Hmm.
to me. I think it's got it all there. You got the tragedy at the end as well with Adric. It does feel like the show pushing for something different, pushing for, something perhaps a bit more American, I suppose, is
Hmm.
what Eric Saywell was going for here. And, the blockbuster is a more American invention with Jaws and such. So, yeah, I feel like Earthshock is going for that vibe. And so, yeah, that's why I've gone for this one. But I can certainly see Curse of Emmerich being a good choice there as well, particularly because, it does have that movie version of it to give you the full movie feel. I mean, speaking of movie versions of season 26 stories,
Mhm.
the final category of Sunday afternoon, nearing the end of the week, we're nearing the end of the video now. Uh, I've gone for Battlefield.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it
can
wasn't
see
my
that.
first choice, but I sort of, I thought I've got a lot of 70s on this list, and Battlefield just felt right for Sunday afternoon to me. Again, it's that somewhat more cozier vibe, a bit more fun, a bit more switch your brain off, but nevertheless engage and enjoy. And yeah, I think Battlefield is a suitable Sunday afternoon pick. What did you go for?
I went for Tomb of the Cybermen
Oh, okay.
because I think Sunday sort of you get black and white films on, and it's like that sort of Egyptian aspect of opening the tomb, and the mommy's curse really, but you've got Cybermen within it. So I feel like Tomb of Cybermen, it's got a little bit of action, but it's got this nice sort of Sunday afternoon vibe to it, really.
Mm. Oh, I can see that.
Hmm.
It's interesting how
You
we
read
have,
things.
yeah, we have picked the same stories, but for different categories sometimes, and
Yeah,
sometimes for similar reasons. Yeah. I mean, there is some crossover in some of the categories we've got here.
yeah.
But yeah, I think we've got quite a nice little
Nice little.
selection of stories there.
I mean, it's a difficult one, this, because you're trying not to stick to your go-to stories. Because I could have easily have just picked all Pertwee's for
I mean,
this.
we've certainly skewed that way a bit. We've skewed a bit more 60s and particularly 70s,
70s,
but
yeah.
tried to mix up as well.
But that's just our particular flavor of Doctor that we like.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I
Um,
wanted to get Delta and the Bannerman on here somewhere,
yeah, I could see. Yeah,
but
that's a nice sort of fun, light
it,
summer evening
yeah,
watch.
yeah, like it could have fit Sunday afternoon. It could have fit Summer Blockbuster, really. It could have fit Short but Sweet.
Yeah,
Could have fit Rainy Day. If you're not a fan of it, it could have fit Mood to Suffer. I don't think it would have gone lights out. It's not quite.
no, it's
I mean,
not. Definitely not.
maybe Dirty Binge in the sense that you feel a bit,
Guilty for
dirty
liking it.
for
It's a bit of
enjoy.
a guilty
Yeah,
pleasure. Yeah, I could see that.
yeah, you also get covered in honey.
Mm,
Feel a bit dirty after that.
yeah, it's a bit of a
Uh,
sticky situation.
yeah, not quite a cozy night. Maybe a Christmas.
Hmm.
But, probably not a long journey. Not bittersweet. Pick me up. I think, yeah.
Yeah,
There you go. There's
there we
lots of
are.
categories that we could have stuck Delta and the Bannerman in.
That's
We
the
just,
thought process
yeah.
happening.
I just had to throw out some Delta and the Bannerman love just there because it sadly didn't make it onto the list proper.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, our 12 categories were Pick Me Up, Bittersweet, Long Journey, Christmas, Cozy Night, Dirty Binge, Lights Out, Mood to Suffer, Rainy Day, Short but Sweet, Summer Blockbuster, and Sunday Afternoon. So for these occasions, please take to the comments and let us know what classic Who stories you would pick.
Yeah.
And
You
we'll
know,
see you next time.
we will.
Well, sorry, you were going to say something
I
there.
was going to say it's kind of like your desert island. Like, what stories are you
Mm,
going to take with you for these occasions on the island?
yeah. Bit of a juicy mixed metaphor there, but
Yeah,
yeah, I get what you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But anyway, we'll see you when we get off the island after we finish watching our Doctor Who uh, for our new series picks. That'll be coming
Mm.
soon. Until then, take care, everyone.
Bye bye.